Here we go today. Rufus. It's also got an alternate version with an M, Rusum. So again, into the king himself, their misericordia versa turned. Their pity turned on the king. Illum, him, in the flower of his juventa, of his youth. That force of mind, illum vim animae, this same king and fellow soldier, com militionem, got a passive infinitive, so they were querubanting, they were complaining or mourning that he had been plucked away, ase, from them, and abrupti. So both these davella and abrupti mean he's snatched away and taken from them, and they were memores of themselves. So they were no longer thinking of themselves, all their thoughts had turned onto the king ipsum himself. Into haec. While this is going on, his spiritus coeperat began to mire, to pass through or to move more liberis, more freely. So he began to breathe better, and he had lever battered his eyes, the king did. The Rex lifted up his eyes, and Paulitum, another adverb, gradually, little by little, with his mind returning, rediunting, he agnoverated, he recognised his amicos, who were present participling, recognised his friends who were standing around. The vis, the force of his sickness, being laxated, had been soothed a bit, or they become more lenient, the force of this sickness. It seemed, videbator, because of this one sole thing, quia, because he was sentiebating, he was sensing, feeling the magnitude of this trouble, malaise, trouble, evil, bad situation. However, moreover, the agricatudo, the sickness of his mind, was urgibating, was pressing his corpus, his body. Quipidarium, since Darius, in quinto die, in 5 days, they count inclusive, so it'd be 4 days, it was announced that Darius would be in silica, for is the infinitive. So then he would be handed over, vinctum, in binds or binded up or something, and such a victory to be eripied from his hands, from his manibusses. Looks like with Sibi as well, so himself would be ripped away from his hands, and with an obscure and ignoble death, he would be extinguished. He was complaining about these things, that's why they're in the accusative infinitives. So he was going to be extinguished, he was going to die in his tabernacle, in his tent. Admissus qui amicis, ablative absolute. So having admitted his friends, parita equally, and his medics, he inquited, he said, in which, I'll take fortuna as the nominative, so cernitus, you discern in how with me fortune has grasped me in this articulo, so it's like a little short space of time on this little place of my rerums of my situation. So in English it'd be like, you can see in which way, in quo, fortune has grabbed me in my state of affairs or state of mind, and I seem to audire, to hear the strepitum, the noise, the din of hostile arms, and who, I'm the guy who, ultra of my own accord, I was in tooling bellum, I was bringing in the war, I was waging the war, now I'm the one being provoked, I'm now the one who was challenged. Darius ergo. Darius then, when such arrogant, superbas letters he was writing, he had my fortune in concilio. He was planning my fortune, you might say, but it's all in vain, nequiquam, in vain. C is a if option. If for me, licet, which means it's allowed or may. So if it is allowed to me in the dative, to be taken care of, to be cured, my own judgment, my own arbitrum. Okay. Lenta remedia, slow remedies and slow medics, segnes medicus, my time will not expect it, will not wait for such things. Either to morai, to die strenuously or actively, is melior est, is better for me than to convalesce, then convalescent means to get better, tarde, slowly. Proindice. So then, if quid, if something is opus, something's a help, if there's si quid, if there's something in the arts of the medics, scia, the subjunctive, so let them know that me, not so much I'm seeking death than as a remedy, belli, of war. Again, in English, so it's like, so if there's something that can help, if there's some skill that the doctors have, let it know that he wants something that can help him go to war rather than just die here, I guess, in his tent. Okay, omnibus. So to all incarcerated, there came struck them with a huge care or anxiety. So precepts, so headlong was this rashness of his, temeritas, his rashness. So his desire to get out and fight was incarcerating them with great anxieties. So ergo, therefore, quisque, each one of them for themselves, coipere, they began to precari, they began to entreat him that he should not augurate, not increase the danger to his life in this hurry. So he's not really worried about long-term life, he just wants to be able to go out and fight. But it should be in the power, in the potestate of the medics, of the doctors treating him. So they don't care that for the short battle, they really want him to live for a long time, is what they're trying to say. Inexperto remedies, so untested remedies, are not without injury, hoard injury. And they were suspected, these untested remedies, that in themselves there was a chance of injury. When to his destruction, his pernicam, even, they were solicitare. They worried that the money of the enemies, for some hidden reason, was a risk of his pernition, of Alexander's death. Here's a reason, quippy. Since Darius had usurated, had ordered it to be pronounced, de turum, say that he himself would give 1,000 talents to the interfector of Alexander, to the murderer of Alexander. Itaque. And so, ne quidam, not even did quamquam anyone was willing to dare, so they thought, they arbitranted, to experiment with a remedy on account of the novelty of it, the newness or the untestedness of us, that it would be suspected that maybe it was there to kill him. And so I suppose if Alexander died, they would put that doctor to death as well. 6. VI. There was into the noble medics, the well-known doctors, Philippus, who followed the king, the regem, from Macedonia. His nation was Achaeania or something. It's got 2 N's in it. He was fitus. He was loyal ad modum fully to the dative, to the king. He had been datus, given to the boy Alexander, I'm guessing, as a comes, as a companion, and the custos of his safety. And he was a guardian of his safety. And not only as a king, but even as his alumni, as his foster son, he loved him with eximia caritate. Caritate is where you get charity from. This means love, basically. He had a great deal of love for Alexander. Is, pronoun for he. Non-praecepts usually means headlong, so I guess it means it wouldn't be rushing or fast, but it would be a strenuous remedy, a very active remedy. He promised to adfere, to bring, and the such force of this sickness, the mobi, with a medical potion, ablative, he was promising it would leviturum, it would raise the force of this sickness. And here's the Daily Dictionary. Eximius, we saw it as eximia, the adjective. Distinct, outstanding, exceptional, remarkable. Select choice, the best victim. Excellent, ordinary, special, select. And a Dr. Eximius is an example there. Eximatus is also a medieval phrase for outstanding or something. Okay, nulla. Looks like to no one the promise of his was pleasing, besides himself, of the one who was in danger. He had promised this promise. Okay, since omnia, everything was more easily able to be perpetrated, to be suffered or endured, than the delay. And we'll wrap it up. Armour and Aches. So armour can be your armour and your weapons, and Aches is battle lines. These were in his eyes. So literally he could see these things. Also Aches is used of eyesight. But anyway, he was arbitrary. He was thinking that victory would be placed in him, or on his side, victory would be his, if tantum, he was able to stand before the standards at the front. And id ipsum, this itself, which post 3 days, after 3 days, he should sumptuous asset. He was to consume this medicine after 3 days, for thus the medicus had praedicerated. He had given these instructions that he was to wait for 3 days, and he was bearing this with difficulty, that he had to wait. And that's it.